Hello, and welcome to this edition of Arlington Public News. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Michelle Marino.
In tonight's newscast, we present safety tips on how to stay cool this summer. We bring you highlights from the recent Summer Arts Block Party, and we introduce a new series on personality.
These stories and more coming up next. Please stay with us.
Heavy rain caused flash flooding and road closures throughout Arlington on Wednesday, July 16th. Public Works and Public Safety personnel were dispatched to problem areas. NSTAR's outage map reported that 437 households lost power during the storm. You know, Michelle, I was driving through that storm and it was pretty bad. There were a couple of streets I didn't think I could get through. I felt kind of like my car was floating through the streets.
Absolutely. There were some pretty damaging winds and rain, and I hope everyone stayed safe. And
Definitely.
I'm glad you were too. The town of Arlington announced the launch of a new interactive website. The updated site will incorporate a fresh look, improved navigation, and new interactive tools. Among the new features are better organized agendas and meeting minutes, improved searches for community events that can be filtered by categories or departments, enhanced navigation with the goal of providing a more user-friendly and consistent experience to make content easier to find, improved design that adjusts screen resolution to fit smartphones, tablets, and other mobile devices. The town welcomes your feedback, but also encourages users to be patient during the implementation phase of the new website.
Robbins Library announces the first annual Arlington Book Festival. The festival will take place on Saturday, November 1st, and will offer local authors the opportunity to share their knowledge, participate on panels, and advertise and sell their work. Applications are available at the reference desk at the Robbins or can be made online. Applications are due by Friday, August 15th.
As part of our ongoing coverage of the Mass Ave rebuild project, Arlington Public News recently spoke with Howard Muse, co-chair of the Arlington Transportation Advisory Committee, about design elements intended to improve pedestrian and bike safety. News intern Abigail Feldman brings you this story about traveling safely on Mass Ave, whether you walk, bike, or drive.
Arlington, home to many frequent walkers and bikers, is no stranger to pedestrian-related dangers. In 2013 alone, at least 16 vehicle-pedestrian accidents were reported to police. Arlington Public News spoke to Howard Muse, co-chair of the Arlington Transportation Advisory Committee, or TAC, about the ways that the new Mass Ave rebuild project aims to make streets safer.
I think the original emphasis for the project is pedestrian safety and bicycle accommodation. Not so much, although it's part of the project to try to accommodate traffic too, but that's not the major emphasis of the project.
Okay.
As recently as the end of last year, we did have a traffic fatality at the crossing at Orvis and Grafton Street, right near the post office in East Arlington. Okay. An elderly woman was killed late in the evening. And that crossing is a very wide crossing. It's a long distance from one side of the street to the other. Yeah. And the project is really designed to make that crossing safer, along with several others that are in the corridor.
According to Muse, construction plans for East Arlington include many strategies for reducing pedestrians' vulnerability to oncoming cars.
One way that that's being done is by putting in what we call bump outs, and that is moving the curb closer into the traffic stream. Another factor that's happening is that there will be bike lanes on there, so as somebody steps out into the roadway, they'll be actually stepping into the bike lane and not immediately into traffic. And one other thing that will contribute to a better crossing there is the fact that one of the travel lanes westbound is going to be eliminated, so that you're only crossing 3 lanes of moving cars instead of 4 lanes. Okay. So all of this, the bump out and the bike lane, makes them much more visible to cars before they're actually stepping in front of the car.
And you mentioned that you were going to have some of those changes in other places. Could you explain some of those other places along Mass Ave where they're going to be?
Some of the other locations where we'd have some bump outs, there will be a sort of a large one at Lake Street in front of Olivio's restaurant. Okay. And that will bump out so that it will eliminate automobiles parking along opposite Lake Street inside the intersection, which is you're not supposed to be doing. And these bump outs go out about as far as a parked car, so that once you step onto them and you get to the edge of them, you're beyond the parked car. So it makes it much easier for oncoming traffic to see the pedestrian.
The new design, Muse explained, also better accounts for a more eco-friendly age of transportation.
One of the things in traffic planning these days is what they call complete streets, and that means that you're serving all the users, not just people driving in cars. So there's a lot more emphasis now on paying attention to the pedestrians, bicyclists, even the transits.
We asked local passers-by what the biggest hazards to pedestrians are today and what steps they can take to protect themselves.
The biggest hazards nowadays would be a lot of people are actually always on their cell phones and just not paying attention to the road. Earlier today, I just saw someone text messaging while speeding down the highway, so that's a huge issue.
A lot of people will walk right into the walkway and the cars are coming and they pay no attention.
From Arlington Public News, this is Abigail Feldman.
Staying cool in the summer is crucial, especially for seniors. News intern Lindsay Kennett reports on what to look for and how to protect yourselves and your loved ones.
While summer is a great time to spend outdoors, 90-degree days and high humidity can be dangerous. Staying cool in the summer is vital for everyone, but especially for senior citizens. Overheating can cause heat stroke, seizures, or even death.
So seniors, because of their increasing age, have certain their body has changed, obviously, in certain ways. So, for example, their ability to notice when they overheat is diminished, and then their ability to compensate for that is also diminished. So, lack of sweating, because it takes longer for them to realize, or it takes the body longer to realize that they're kind of overheating. They have less sweat glands, and maybe sweat less. So, that heat is not able to dissipate if their core body temperature is increased.
Recognizing the symptoms of overheating can help someone before their condition escalates.
There's kind of a couple phases in terms of when folks are exhausted by heat. In the kind of the beginning phases, folks may be dizzy, nauseous, feel weak, may vomit. They may have a slight increase of core body temperature, so 100, 102. Their skin may be kind of clammy, almost like a little bit wet and pale. They certainly feel lethargic. So at that point, that's kind of the first sign. So at that point, drink more fluids, find a cooling center, turn on the AC, turn on the fan. If that continues to not happen and nothing's getting better, then you can get into a heat stroke, or that's like hallucinations and delirious and seizures and red hot skin. At that point, that's a medical emergency. You should certainly seek a provider at that point.
Do you have any tips to help keep seniors cool?
Sure. So certainly stay in an air-conditioned environment. If they don't have air conditioning, there are cooling centers here in town. Obviously, increase fluids. So drinking fluids, water, particularly juice, Gatorade, Powerades, those type of products that have certain electrolytes in them, and avoid anything that's kind of super sugary and no alcohol, no caffeine, just because those help to rid the body of fluid that senior needs to have. So
there are 5 cooling centers in Arlington open to community members of all ages. For seniors who need transportation, call the Council on Aging.
For example, if someone has limited resources, say they can't afford to have AC on all the time, what would you recommend for them?
Well, it couldn't have it on all the time, and that could be quite a problem. Heat is one of the elements of trouble for people and machines, anything. Our bodies are machines, right? So, if it overheats, it doesn't work so well. Just like your car, if it overheats, it's next thing you know, it's on the side of the road. So, they can come into the center anytime. They don't have to call. They don't have to have an appointment. They can just come in and relax.
For more information, go to the Council on Aging's website or the Arlington Seniors Association's website. Check out the senior newsletter for more tips on staying cool.
I'm Lindsay Kennett with Arlington Public News.
Pets are also vulnerable to heat in the summer months. Lindsay is back with tips on how to keep them safe during the dog days of summer.
In summertime, we often remember to keep our friends, parents, and children cool from the dangerous heat. But sometimes we forget an important member of our families, our pets. Our pets can also suffer in the extreme heat, and it is important to know how to keep them cool and safe as well.
So in the summertime, we often are concerned about our loved ones and ourselves because of the heat, but what about our pets? Do you have any concerns?
Definitely. The dogs tend to slow down, I think, a little bit when the heat arrives and control themselves a bit, but I always make sure there's plenty of fresh, cold water. cool spot for him to take a nap. And we also have a kiddie pool in the backyard, and if he's in it and he's wet, I make sure that he's all dry before he takes his rest.
So some of the symptoms from overheating and heat stroke would be disorientation, actually having trouble walking. They stumble, they get confused easily, they try to hide. Excessive panting would be another one that we would see.
How do you make sure that your pet stays cool and safe?
Well, inside we have air conditioning, he likes to sleep on cold floors, and we make sure he's properly hydrated. And we have a kiddie pool out back that usually my son plays with, but he likes to jump into. That's basically what we do.
And what about if you take your dog outside?
If I take him outside, I have a little portable water bowl that I bring with me, and either I have a bottle of water on me or I look for water fountains and things like that.
If you suspect your pet has overheated, treat it as a medical emergency and seek help.
So what you want to do is you want to cool them down as quickly as possible. We put them in a bathtub here. We can soak their feet, their extremities with alcohol, which cools them down quite a bit. We put a cold towel around their neck and on their head. But we do give them a cool bath, and we keep the water flowing. You can use a hose and continually hose them down. And it depends. Then sometimes we need to rehydrate them, give them IV fluids and medicine to treat the fever.
Surprisingly, giving your pet some freedom will allow them to learn from their mistakes and will keep them safe and cool in the future.
And the safest thing for dogs is to almost allow them to do what they want to do. They figure it out on their own. Again, to set their own pace. Dogs are wise and have their own wisdom and can usually figure it out where to stay cool. I prefer that they stay home, stay away from cars. Cars are always a potential problem of overheating and heat stroke.
So be sure to keep all of your pets safe and cool this summer. I'm Lindsay Kennett with Arlington Public News.
You know, it's really great that the town has set up these 5 cooling centers
Yes.
for the citizens in town, and it's always important for folks to remember too that when they're outside to keep themselves protected.
And if you're trying to beat the heat, make sure you bring your pets with you as well.
Definitely. Do you know how you appear to others? Are you introverted, extroverted, sensing or thinking? How do you make decisions? Are you logical or intuitive? News producer Brandon Prentice presents part 1 of a new series on personality and understanding oneself.
So Frank, what would you say personality is?
The way people act and behave.
Hyperactive, definitely.
Character, charisma, style.
Just the way people think, act, respond to other people.
These are crazy questions. I was not ready for this. These are the questions I hate the most.
Hello and welcome. I'm Brandon Prentice for Arlington Public News, and today we'll be starting a journey into the unknown world of personality. Joining us in the studio for our conversation is Herb Pierce, a local therapist, author, and leading expert on personality. Thanks for coming down, Herb.
You're welcome.
Now, why don't we start with the simple question that's often hard to answer for most people. What is personality?
Well, you know, everyone's different, everyone's unique, you know, everyone relates to the world in a very, very different way, the way they think, the way they act, you know. And you know, sometimes we use the term, oh, that person has a really strong personality or weak personality, but there's always a personality inside that's different than other people.
What are some factors that you think can help to form a personality, and how do you think these factors help to define the way people are and how they're different from one another?
Yeah. I mean, there are factors such as, you know, who your parents are and the setting you're in and whether you're supported or not. Certainly that very much affects whether your true personality can come out or not. If you're spending a lot of time trying to be different to please or to adapt to an environment that doesn't really support your native strength. I mean, for instance, some people are introverts by nature and some are extroverts by nature, but introverts have to extrovert, and at times extroverts have to tone down.
What degree do you think personality is innate or learned?
I think it's pretty much totally innate. I think learning affects it to some degree and either supports it or doesn't, but I think it's inborn. Matter of fact, there's some research that I recently read about that verifies that.
Do you think one can change their personality, and if so, would all that personality they had before be lost with the change?
No, on a deep level, I don't think you can change your personality, honestly. You can change a lot about the behavioral characteristics of your personality, but that takes work and effort and practice. It's not natural. I think it's fun and interesting to understand difference and to have the world and relationships be better, really, by accepting that people are different and seeing that you're different too. Try to understand yourself, not just others. But to me, it's just so much. It's so fun and exciting to explore.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to join us and talk about this fascinating subject. If you would like to contact Herb Pierce to learn more about his therapy, books, team building trainings, workshops, and counseling sessions, you can contact him by phone. It's 781-648-3737 or by email at herb@herbpierce.com. Please join us next time for our second segment of this three-part series when we journey further into the topic of personality. This has been Brandon Prentice for Arlington Public News. Until next time.
The William J. Reardon Jr. Veterans Resource Center is Arlington Town Hall's newest addition. Aimed at supporting veterans' rights and well-being, the center provides local services to all veterans. APN attended the dedication and brings you highlights from the event.
Veterans are not getting the proper care they deserve. As a response, Veteran Service Director Jeff Chunglo planned, organized, and founded Arlington's very own Veterans Resource Center. He honored fallen veteran and Arlington native William L. Reardon Jr. in a dedication ceremony for the new Resource Center located in Town Hall.
On behalf of the Board of Selectmen and on behalf of the people of Arlington, we want to thank all the veterans and all of you here who support them for the honor you have brought to this town. And I want to especially thank the individual standing up here with me today for the honor that he has brought to the town after just 3 months on the job. Secretary Nee and others have told us what a great job Massachusetts has done with veterans services. I was just recently out in Phoenix. We are not a Phoenix, nor will Arlington ever be, because of the leadership of this individual.
It's been a void in veteran services for a while, especially for our unemployed vets, to be able to bring them in to a place where they had resources available to find jobs, employment, work on computers, work on their resumes. So being here in the town hall, they're able to tap into not only the resources here in the center, but also the resources in the town hall. Human resources, they can assist with reviewing resumes and directing people for the resources that they need.
Well, this is a resource center. Right. And so the hope, and our veterans agent who has done such an amazing job in establishing this, is trying to create opportunity. And that's to making sure that veterans can come into this resource center, use the computers, and make sure that they're accessing benefits that they're entitled to, employment opportunities. This is to try to protect our veterans when they come home, giving them the resources that they should receive, whether it benefits or opportunities. So I think this is a resource center, this is an opportunity center, and I hope that every veteran in the town of Arlington will be able to access it and know that it's here. And I think our veterans agent has done an amazing job in establishing it. And now it's up to all of us to make sure that veterans know that they can come in and use it for what it is. And, it means so much to be able to dedicate this resource center for William Reardon. This is about memory. There's the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. There are so many soldiers who have dedicated their lives for freedom and for our way of life here, and we don't know their name. And the way to remember the legacy of our veterans is by memory. And so being able to name this resource center for William Reardon, we'll never forget him. We'll never forget his heroism, him giving his life for our country. And that's why it's so important, preserving that memory.
I think it is why Massachusetts is leading in the country in our veterans services. It's because we know the importance of having a place where veterans can come that is local, and they can get the resources and access to the benefits that they deserve and sometimes don't even know are available to them. And to be part of this today and having this be a great center in memory of Private Reardon is just very exciting, and I can't think of a better way to honor his memory and honor what the veterans do for all of us.
The new Resource Center offers critical service and support for veterans. With this center, Arlington is paving the way in Massachusetts for Veterans Affairs. I'm Hannah Perlmutter with Arlington Public News.
On Saturday, June 21st, the old Schwan Mill celebrated a very special birthday. News producer Julie Land attended and brings you our next story.
They say that, without the past, there is no future. On June 21st, generations joined together to preserve both. Schwan family members from across the U.S. gathered with museum workers to celebrate the mill's 150th anniversary with a picnic.
My name is Wayne Schwan, and I'm the last generation to work at the mill, and I'm a fifth generation Schwan here. I think my father would be very, very proud. And I know my grandfather and my Uncle Louie and all the Schwans who were a part of this operation. I mean, it's incredible. Here it's 150 years, and the building is still standing after all these years. And, I'm very proud.
My name is Theodore Schwan, and with respect to Harold, we go back into Germany about 6 or 7 generations together.
So how many generations of Schwab here in America are you?
5. It's been interesting to tour through the mill and see all the little pencil prescribed notes on there of when the snow happened in the 1800s and how deep it was, and just the processes here that they have are just fantastic. Especially the ability to make the oval picture frames with a device that they designed here, and I know that that's been written up, and that the frames from here hang in the White House, they hang in the Buckingham Palace, they're all over the world, so that's kind of a neat thing to be associated with.
My hats are off to all the volunteers, all the directors, everyone involved with the operation. They've done a terrific job.
Congratulations and happy anniversary to the Schwan family.
On Saturday, July 12th, the Summer Arts Block Party took over Arlington Center with live music on multiple stages, contemporary dance and theater performances, delicious local food, and even a roving magician. The Block Party is a free, family-friendly annual event that celebrates community and summer fun.
The Eric J. Preston Annual Lacrosse Tournament is a local event that offers youth players a chance to compete while also raising money for Arlington teams. Arlington Public News attended this year for further insight into why this competition is so special to our community and to those involved.
The 3rd annual Eric J. Preston Lacrosse Tournament kicked off on June 14th. Lacrosse players from around the country gathered to play together and pay respects to Eric.
We are all different age groups. We have some high school kids on our team, and it's great to just get back with Arlington people and reminisce about the good old days. Eric loved lacrosse more than anybody else I've ever met, so it's a great way to honor him and remember him, and it's a great cause.
It's like seeing my family and friends all down here, and my brother's playing, so watching him. It's a good way to remember Eric, and it's for a good cause. And we get a lot of family and friends down here, so it's a lot of fun.
For Eric's family, this event is especially important.
And how long have you been participating in this tournament?
Since we started it 3 years ago. This is the 3rd year, and I was happy to jump in from the very beginning.
What's your favorite thing about it every year?
To see all the familiar faces that grew up with these kids, all the kids that come back, all the old Arlington crowd. That was meant a lot to Eric. His friends were huge. Anyone that knew him knew that his friends were a huge part of his life, and that this is an incredible tribute to him. Anytime there was a gathering of a bunch of kids having a good time, it meant a lot to Eric. I think that it would mean a lot to Eric to just know that everybody considers him and came him in his honor, because he knows that it meant, I know that he worries about his parents. I'm sure he does up there. So I know that this means a lot to him.
So we started the tournament originally to help out kids that would practice a lot but didn't have the means necessarily to get to summer camps. And then we switched to the Boys and Girls Club, and now we're doing officially the youth and high school teams. So we're going to donate the money to them. Every year we just want to kind of keep it, you know, a little bit growth and just kind of keep it a success story every year. We want to be able to donate money every year to the youth and high school teams, and that's important to us in Eric's name. So we'll work hard to keep it going. It's important to me that I do this every year for Eric. It brings me closer to him.
It means an awful lot to us, because Eric's love was always lacrosse, and he kind of, the program started when he began was when the program came to Arlington, so he was in the first youth lacrosse teams that started here, and he just loved the game. He got you know, groups going like out in Acton, indoor lacrosse team. So it really was his love, and we wanted to try to find something that would kind of perpetuate, you know. He just really loved the game, and that's what kept him going.
Right, so it's nice to see all these people. A lot of these people that you see out there today, people he played with, and the parents that we hung around with. So it's nice to see them all again.
Eric's memory lives on and gives back through the annual lacrosse tournaments. Be sure to stay updated for information regarding next year's event at ejplax.com.
The APN Photo of the Month contest is well underway. This month's theme is Your Kids Enjoying Summer. You do not have to be an Arlington resident to participate, and you can submit as many photos as you'd like. Be sure to do so by August 5th to have a shot at winning a $100 gift card to Flora Restaurant in East Arlington. The winner will be announced on August 7th. Well, Paul, I checked out our Facebook page. There are a number of really great submissions already, so be sure to get yours in. That's a $100 gift card. Great prize.
It's a great prize, and I'm sure many of you have lots of great photos of your kids enjoying summer, so don't be shy. Be sure to send them on in. Thank you for joining us this week as we present issues of interest to Arlington and surrounding communities. Check out our latest segments on the web at news.acmi.tv, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Please join us next time for another edition of Arlington Public News. I'm Michelle Marino.
And I'm Paul Whirlin. See you next time.